Princes of the Jupiter.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Jupiter at Night. My name is Chris.
My name is Jeremy.
Welcome back, J-Man.
Thanks, I didn't take the week off.
No, the rumor was
teased
you'd be
you.
out. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the Christmas decorations ended early, I suppose.
They're being postponed.
Oh.
We don't want to get into Christmas too quick and wear ourselves out.
You know what I want to say?
What?
I got a chance to see the Santa overlay you did in Stoked 62. That was great.
It was actually me, too.
That was real footage from a previous Santa clip.
Yep.
That was very cool. If you haven't seen that yet...
at least go watch the first 5 minutes of Stoked, even if you're not a Stowe fan.
He threw it in there pretty early. It's a pretty funny effect.
Yeah.
Okay, but tonight, not a funny effect. Tonight sucks for Chris, you guys.
Oh.
It kind of does. So you heard about Gawker getting hacked over the weekend, Gizmodo, Lifehacker, IO9. Well, so they had 1.4 million users. 200,000 of those users got their passwords leaked online.
And you were one of those lucky few.
I was one of the lucky 200K. And here's my story.
Okay.
Because I know the first thing you guys out there are going to say is, Chris, you shouldn't have used your password that you used somewhere else at Gawker.com.
Right.
And you're right. And I thought that was the case.
You are right.
I am absolutely right.
Yeah.
And they're absolutely right.
Yeah.
And I knew better. And I thought that was the case. But there I was in my inbox one day. I saw, oh, password reset. That's weird. It was like...
I want to point out that you didn't even remember you had a Gawker account.
For years.
Yeah.
I never comment on sites.
Right.
And I must have just one point for like a Lifehacker article or something made an account. I don't remember what it was for. I wish I hadn't done it. And I used like a really simple standard password. But over the last couple of years, I've kind of started setting that password on a few other places because it's easier on mobile devices.
Right.
You know, like the little keyboards and stuff?
Right, because if you have a password that's like the typical, what they recommend, which is like one capital, one lowercase, one number,
like
and one
8
symbol.
characters and all that stuff. Which I did.
If you have to do that, then you have to, first of all, you have to put in the capital, which is, you know, an extra keystroke, and then you have to tab over to the numbers pad, and that's an extra keystroke, and you have to tab over to the symbols pad.
All a little clumsy, and you never are quite confident you got it. And like in my case, I had like a symbol, and then it was like a sub symbol that I had to go into. Depending on the keyboard I'm using on the Android, it's like sometimes not even on there. I mean, it was not convenient.
So I understand your pain.
I kind of converted back to easier, simpler. Well, I guess I chose the password that I set for my Gawker account years ago, and I think it was like Monday. I got up and I was having a really good morning. Monday started out nice.
That's rare for Monday.
Right? Low key. I didn't get any phone calls. I didn't get any emails. No emergency text messages. Oh my God, the buildings are burning.
Right. Nothing
like that. I was like, oh, this is how I get in. You know, I'm getting working. Fire up my email. Oh. Can't log into my Google account.
Uh-oh.
It starts to dawn on me. Oh. Well, I use Google Voice. I use Google Calendar. I use Google everything. I didn't have any meeting reminders. I didn't have any phone calls. I didn't have any text message. I didn't have any email, any docs. Nothing.
It's funny that I kind of brought this up when we did our Google's Big Week episode last week. I mean, that's not an I told you so. It's just funny.
I know.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's funny because I'm not like my whole life isn't in Google, but for this one responsibility that I have for these different organizations, it's easiest for me to collaborate with everybody in that spot.
So the theory here is that through all of Gawker's accounts that got hacked basically were put in a torrent file and sent out to the internet. So the theory is that somebody took that file and tried all the different username and passwords in Google, and it happened to match yours.
So Google, I guess, going through, at first Google just kind of gives you this weird message, and you're like, what? My account there's suspicious activity? What? Is that something I did? Is that something somebody else did? When you go in there, you can dig around and get more information. If you go to like google.com/dashboard, that's where you can find out the actual IP address where somebody attempted to get in. And it came from a New York address. Somebody tried to log into my account. Now, I didn't have the same password on my Google account that I had on my Gawker account, but it was close to it.
Oh.
I just added a few characters from my Google account, and so they weren't able to get in. But Google turned it off, which disabled everything in my life. And then today, this is Tuesday Tuesday, right? No, this is Wednesday.
Today's Wednesday.
This is Wednesday.
Yeah.
So a couple of days later, my Amazon account gets disabled.
Same password or similar?
Same password as the Gawker account. Because I was logging in on like a TiVo where you actually had to type out your password using the TiVo remote.
Yeah.
So 111
which again is just a pain in the butt.
It's a number pad.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there like I couldn't do complicated numbers.
Right.
And so that again happened, but here's what Amazon did. this is interesting. Amazon downloaded that list themselves, ran a check against their own user database, and disabled my account for me and said, hey, by the way, there's this Gawker thing. We found your stuff on there, and it looks like the hash kind of matches to your actual password, so we turned off your account.
Good on Amazon.
I think so, too.
Well done, guys.
I have, like, the one-click purchase stuff set
That
up.
is proactive community customer service.
Yeah.
I like that.
So I wanted to jump from this into what I knew better, and there's a lot of ways you can prevent this kind of thing from happening to you.
Well, first of all, if you suspect that you might have been involved in this hack, we have a link in our show notes that you can actually go to it and just type in your email address, and it'll tell you with a simple yes or no answer. Yes, you're on the list. No, you're not on the list.
Yeah, actually, it kind of they've improved it, and they tell you how bad you've been hacked. Like if you are, they can now tell you if you've been on the list, but if your password has been decrypted or not, or if it has been decrypted.
Okay.
When I put mine in there, it says
you are effed.
You're on the list. Your password's been decrypted. You should change it ASAP for other sites and stuff like that. So it's a nice, handy tool. So go check that out because there's actually.
It's from slate.com.
I want to give a shout out to our show notes because we did a bunch of digging around with the whole Gawker story. There's also been a bunch of other hacking going on, and fastcompany.com has a good article on it.
Yep.
There's been like a streak of hacking. In fact, there's even been some implications.
McDonald's, DeviantArt, and Walgreens have all been hacked in the last couple days. And that means that account information that they store, whatever McDonald's stores, why would they store information? But anyway, whatever they have from their websites, probably from their Monopoly giveaway, you probably need a login.
You also can get a login for their Wi-Fi service and stuff like that. But
so anyway, that stuff has been
there's rumors of a competition, almost like a hacker, capture the flag in a way. And there's links to that in the show notes. So check out this episode's show notes. But one thing I want to talk about is prevention and tools.
Yeah.
And there's one that I'll just mention really quickly that I don't have a lot of experience with before we go too much further. And that's the YubiKey here. And this will work with a couple of tools that we'll talk about here in a minute. But
I think it's tiny.
The one nice thing, I was really racking my brain, how can I really, in my particular setup, how can I really be secure? Because we have people in and out of these systems. We need logged in. We need to be logged into our different accounts. I have a real
We don't. I mean, if Alan or John or Brian come in tomorrow night, I probably will have forgotten to log out of my accounts over here. Yeah. They can send emails. They can hack my accounts. They can probably buy things from my Amazon.
So it's kind of similar to what the Blizzard does. You're familiar with that Blizzard login system. This is a physical item that I have to have that can have an encryption key on it and work in conjunction with some of these other programs we're going to talk about. Yeah. And it looks just like a USB memory card.
It's really small.
It's small, and you put it in the USB slot, and then
it's probably only a little bit thicker than the credit card. Barely.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and then Bob's Your Uncle has got a little keychain hole on it. Bob's Your Uncle, this is it works in conjunction with some of these tools. They can unlock a password vault for you. And then when you step up, you unplug it, and now your password vault's encrypted. So my personal favorite password vault, because it's a tool that integrates with, it's got app for every mobile platform out there, BlackBerry, iPhone, Android, iPad.
Cool.
And every
Alan
browser.
in our chat room says that he's got one for his PayPal, eBay account. One of those key things. Yeah.
So, and they work also with a lot of great services like LastPass is an example of one that they work with. I really like LastPass. I've probably used LastPass for.
I know it's on all your computers.
Year and a half or so, maybe. I switched over when I was a Mac only user. I used a program called 1Password, and then when I moved from the Mac, I needed something to kind of do this. And it's nice because it can generate secure passwords for you and then remember them, but it can also import all of your browsers, saved passwords and stuff like that, and then audit them and say, hey, bozo, you used the same password on these 20 sites. So what I do?
Yeah.
I knew that password. Eventually, I figured out what password I used at Gawker. Plugged that into LastPass, and I said, LastPass, show me every website I use this password on. LastPass generated me a report, and when possible, gave me a link to write to their page to go change my password.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And the nice thing about LastPass is the encryption system they use is always client-side. That means all the encrypting and all the decrypting is only done on your machine, not on LastPass.
Meaning that your information, your password, your login, and everything is never sent over a network unencrypted.
They only ever get the encrypted results.
Okay.
They only get encrypted data from you.
That's one of the things that I was a little worried about because this is a browser plugin.
It's a browser plugin. It's also, they work with bookmarklets and all, so you can be on a site and using a bookmarklet can actually autofill in the login information.
Right. But the information, your login information, is not actually stored on your system, if I understand. It's stored on their servers.
On their servers.
And then sent to you, and then you just have the decryption key.
You decrypt it and then read it insert it into the
even if
browser, and then
you've-
re-encrypt.
Even if you've got some sort of malware or spyware that's sniffing your packets as they're going over your network,
Right.
all it's going to get is gobbledygook.
Right.
Because they don't have the key.
Right.
Awesome.
And then you can combine it with something like YubiKey, where that only gets in combination with the password and this physical item. That really locks it up. And that's really nice. But again, see, the problem is I'm not always going to have this, and I can't use this on every device, so I'm probably not going to use this for this purpose personally. I'm using LastPass and will continue to use LastPass, and they offer like a premium one too. I don't know what it gets you, to be honest with you. It's $1 a month, but I really can't tell what I get.
That's cheap.
They've also worked with Xmarks now, and they've bought the Xmarks company.
Oh.
So they're working with bookmark syncing, so they're kind of expanding. So it's kind of a neat service. But if you
I was
don't,
wondering what was going to happen to Xmarks.
yeah, they got saved by the LastPass.
Oh, that's a
guys.
good way to go about it.
It's kind of a good
Incorporate yourself.
synergy. Yeah, it makes sense.
Good on you.
Now, one that is not really tied into a browser. It also works really good for your using your brain as the password vault, which I know a few people in our chat room have mentioned they like to do. And I'm talking about SuperGenPass.
Well, I would like to agree with the chat room. It's very difficult to hack a human brain.
Yeah.
I mean, as of now, nearly impossible.
Yeah, I agree.
I know that the NSA is working on it, though, because I watched Chuck.
Oh, no. You're probably right. The SuperGenPass is a pretty cool service that it's really just at the heart of it JavaScript. It's not even really a service. And it uses a combination of a nice bookmark that you put in your browser, say like on your toolbar when you're on a site. It uses a combination of the site's URL and your master password. And this is always your main password. And then using a combination of your master password and that site's URL, it generates like a hashed password.
It does math.
It does the math for you.
Yeah.
Now, you don't have to remember that hashed password. You just have to remember the master password and the
And
website.
then you plug it into this translator, and it gives you what your password was.
Bob's your uncle.
That's really handy because also another,
And then it's unique for each site.
again, it's complete. Yeah, it's unique for each site because it combines the URL. And unless the hacker community out there knows your secret word,
Right.
there's no way for them to do the math.
And your secret word could be like a lot. You know, it could be like a sentence.
You know,
And it
if
might
you
be
really
perfect
want to
for-
get crazy with it, can I point out this other website here?
Yeah, from Mr. Steve Gibson.
Because you could use one of these crazy 64-bit codes that are randomly generated when you go to the site.
Yeah, every time you
as your
load this
secret
page,
thing,
it
and
generates
then
it generates totally random code. Yeah,
Yeah.
you totally could. You know that
As long as you kept that somewhere.
Yeah, you have to keep, yeah, exactly.
Because you're not remembering that.
No. But you know what? This SuperGenPass or its cousin GenPass would be perfect for things like a Gawker.com account because I don't have to remember I could probably remember my master password.
Yeah.
Because that could be any password that I always use because
Right.
that's just part of the math equation. And then I could just go here, generate it once, plug it into Gawker.com, not come back for 3 years, and then in 3 years, all I have to do is remember I'm going to Gawker and go to SuperGen.
And it could be, I mean, it's not entirely safe, but it could be something as easy as your name.
Oh,
It could be Chris and Gawker, and then it combines them into the super secret password. You're never going to forget your name, I hope. I mean, I hope.
You never know.
This is you we're talking about.
So I've learned my lesson, and I've gone through. I've changed all my passwords.
It's always a good idea to not use the same password
Absolutely.
on too many different sites because, as we're seeing more and more these days, these things are not secure. And a lot of these places, sadly, store your user information in either text, which is obviously easy to get to, or very easy encryptions.
And
very well-known encryptions.
And you never know what their third-party buddies are doing. Like we have a story in the show notes. DeviantArt had a bunch of user information get leaked, and
from their third-party email marketing group.
provider. Yeah.
Right.
It wasn't their database.
No.
But they handed over a list for purposes of marketing, which is what contracting service I'm assuming.
Yeah.
And they get hacked, and all your stuff's out. So it really is important to try to generate a unique password for each website.
And you know,
I'm
on
really
that-
going to become a champion of
On
that
that
now.
subject, I want to point out a few that you should not use.
Oh, this is great.
Because we had a link to a story of the top most popular passwords that were leaked on the hacker or through the Gawker hack.
You know, you can almost find out what Gawker's more popular websites are by the passwords their users use.
Well, yeah, I mean, number 4 on their most popular passwords was Lifehack.
Yeah, good indicator.
However, number 1 was 123456.
People.
Number 2 was password.
Yeah.
You know, now I have actually a friend who worked in IT for a long time who his regular password was password, but he replaced a couple of the characters with numbers.
Sure.
So it was really easy to remember, but
Or
it was also harder to
capital
guess.
P, ass word, the O's is 0.
Yeah,
and then an exclamation at the end. You know, what's interesting, though, I just want to mention, having worked in IT myself, of course the ones I recognize the most frequently are QWERTY, Monkey, Superman, and Batman.
Really? Superman and Batman are that common?
And baseball. Yeah, baseball too. Baseball and Superman are my most, like, if a user calls up and I'm going to reset it and then they set it again on their most common login, baseball and Superman and summer are my most common, depending on the time of year. So it's funny to see some of those on here. Monkey, if you know, a lot of times when you call up like HP tech support, Monkey is always the password they set stuff to.
Really?
Like almost always. It's funny. Huh. So it's interesting to see that either reflected by these same people or by users that just now have gotten in that.
There's actually one that looks like it might be, you know, almost secure on here. It's trust no one. Yeah. Actually looks like it would be a decent password.
Well, here's password with a 0. Well, remember, this isn't the strength of the password because they got the database.
Right. This is just how many people had that same password as theirs.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's true. That's right.
So even though trust no one is actually a pretty decent, strong password.
A lot of people use it.
Mid-range. So many people have it that it's not.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's an interesting point. So make it something unique to you, too. Because that's, yeah. I mean, if you figure they have 1.2 million users and a certain percentage were using that password, that's worth their time.
More than 3,000 of those 188,000 that got leaked and decrypted, more than 3,000 had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
I'm happy to say my password's not on there.
Well done.
Thank you. But
congratulations.
It obviously didn't matter.
This is going in my. I'm going to save this.
Yeah.
And if I ever have to try to hack something, I'm just going to go down
pull
the
out this list. Yeah, but only if it's geek stuff. Because I don't think you're going to find Star Wars on a lot of people's. Or
are you kidding me?
Well, okay, Star Wars, yeah, but some of these.
What does this world come to? Star Wars is not on there.
Some of these though are kind of geeky. You can tell the IO9 users.
Yeah.
You can tell the IO9 users had a thing or two.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Okay, so that's fun to look at. We're totally getting off track, but I am pleased. Yeah, at the end of the day, though, it didn't matter if my password wasn't super simple, but it just didn't. The complexity didn't matter.
Right.
That's it. There you go.
Yeah.
All right, everyone. Well, tomorrow night, Brian's going to join us again. We're going to have a Tron-themed fart and dick joke episode.
That's the plan.
There you go.
Sadly, I will not be here for real this time. I've got to do dress rehearsal for my concert this weekend.
'Tis the season, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. But so yeah, we're excited because after Jupiter Night tomorrow night, we're probably gonna head down and go see Tron. That's gonna be fun. So that'll be a good Thursday night episode.
I'm gonna try to join you. I'll be honest, but
cool?
I told Brian not to get me a ticket ahead of time because I'm probably gonna be wiped out.
You might not be able to get in because we're gonna go see like a 3D IMAX.
Yeah.
But it's not crazy expensive. It's just gonna be sold out.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, that's
fingers crossed. You
never know.
Who knows?
You never know.
Or maybe I'll just walk down and knock you out and take your ticket.
That's true. We can just tag out. Just take 15-minute trains. Okay, everyone. Thanks so much for watching tonight's episode of Jupiter at Night, and we'll see you tomorrow night. At least I will.